I am fond of the Assassin's Creed game series, particularly their first game with Altair. Assassin's Creed 1 might have repetitive gameplay and a small empty world, but it had a really strong narrative. Thing is, in that first game, the Brotherhood just fits. It feels like it belonged there. The assassins in Assassin's Creed game were inspired by the Hashashin, a real Shia Islamic sect. Like their in-game counterparts, they employed guerrilla warfare tactics, most notably the public assassination of political adversaries. They even had remote mountain fortresses like Masyaf. Yep, the same stronghold from the first game. What I am saying is that the developers didn't just insert their narrative into history, they seamlessly wove real historical events into the game's story. The assassins were just made-up characters. They were real political force back then. In other games, even the Ezio trilogy, the Assassin-Templar conflict often feels like artificial fiction, a modern conspiracy theory crudely grafted onto history. It doesn't matter if it's Renaissance Italy, Revolutionary America, or the Pirate days. It all starts feeling weirdly out of place, like modern-day ideas dressed up in fancy historical outfits. Ever feel like you are just smashing through an open-air museum with that hidden blade? The core issue emerged when developers prioritized dramatic historical backdrops over narrative cohesion. The Assassin-Templar conflict became a forced historical constant, popping up in very era like some ideological whack-a-mole, rather than growing organically from each setting's unique socio-political tensions. The good news? There is a perfect formula for a C setting, and today we are cracking the code. Let's find where the hidden blade truly belongs. Let's rewind to 1848. Europe was on fire, a wave of revolutions now known as the springtime of nations. But here is the thing, most of these uprisings ended in failure. Cool period overall, but let's zoom in. Picture Ireland. The long oppressed Irish nation launched their own uprising against the British. Led by nobility and middle-class rebels, it failed, amazingly too. Two guys from that failed Irish uprising made it out, James Stephens and John O'Mahony. Exiled in Paris, they immersed themselves in the study of guerrilla warfare, secret societies, and revolutionary conspiracy. This was a Paris bursting at the seams with radicals of every stripe, a living classroom for would-be revolutionaries. In Paris, James Stephens may have encountered assassins as his exile changed his approach to resisting British rule. Back in Ireland, he founded the Irish Republican Brotherhood, a secret society built like a living machine, incredibly good at staying hidden. The IRB members knew only their immediate superiors or subordinates, no one else. The structure perfectly mirrored the principles and aura of the Assassin's Brotherhood. The same could be said about the ideology. They fought for Ireland's freedom from British rule, seeing themselves as liberators against the Crown's oppression. But wait, there is more. The Irish Republican Brotherhood wasn't just one secret society. It was actually two. The Brotherhood's second branch operated in America. That same John O'Mahony founded his own organization, the Fenian Brotherhood, named after Finn McCool, the legendary Irish warrior hero from mythology. That's perfect groundwork if you wanna bring in some of that mythological vibe, just like Ubisoft's done in recent games. The story spans continents and it's packed with action. While the Irish branch embodied stealth and sneaky operations, the American branch was more open and more aggressive. In the history of Canada, American Irishmen are notorious for the raids over the USA-Canada border and attempts to establish an independent Irish state on the Canadian soil. Imagine our protagonist caught in the middle of history, fighting with the Fenians at the Battle of Ridgeway in 1866, where the Niagara campaign fell apart in a desperate last stand against surrounding Canadian forces, or sneaking through the rebel-filled alleys of Dublin in the 1867 uprising, where American members of the Brotherhood exchanged gunfire with the police in a doomed revolt. Gameplay-wise, a potential game about the Irish Brotherhood could mix vibes from Connor's missions in AC3, if we are talking about the American side, with something closer to AC Unity or Syndicate for the Irish side of the story. One unique mechanic in a potential game could be a chaos system, similar to the one used in the Dishonored series. Depending on the player's choices, the world could shift toward higher or lower levels of fear and instability. For example, if the player takes part in a Fenian raid, they might be given a choice in how to deal with the local civilians, or in the Irish storyline during a mission to rescue captured Fenians, the player could choose between launching a full-on assault and killing their guards, or defusing the situation peacefully by threatening them with weapons. Based on these decisions, the USA-Canada border could become more heavily militarized, or martial law could be imposed in Ireland. But beyond the action and the cool setting, this game could actually say something about belief, loyalty, and what freedom really costs. What price are you willing to pay for freedom? In March 1867, members of the Irish Brotherhood made a desperate attempt to free one of their own, Richard O'Sullivan Burke. Their plan? Blow a hole in the wall of Clerkenwell prison. They planted a bomb. The explosion tore through 18 meters of stone, but Burke wasn't there. 12 innocent civilians were killed, over 100 were injured. The rescue failed, and public support for the Brotherhood crumbled overnight. In that moment, the line between liberator and the terrorist blurred. And that's the kind of question a great Assassin's Creed game should ask. Not just what you fight for, but how far you are willing to go. Open warfare in Canada, covert operations in Ireland, and eventually a terror campaign with explosions, broken cities across Great Britain, from secret society to terrorist threat. That's the arc. A gripping, morally ambiguous story about struggle, freedom, oppression, and the limits of the creed.